Smell like paint down here. Yeah.
Hello, this is week 12, the 13-week fiscal program of American Descendants of Slavery. You have myself, Chief Biko today. We have Chief Alligator, Chief Akibalan, as well as Chief Blackcoat. And here we focus more so on the first letter of the acronym ADOS, which is American. And we will jump into our readings. I know last week we left off on, I believe, the second to last paragraph in Arkansas as far as the secession. So that's where we'll pick up for today. Share my screen.
We jumping straight into it?
Yeah, we're gonna jump straight into it. Try to knock this out before next week. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and pick up. I know we left off pretty much.
I'll start. Oh, you got it?
You can go ahead, Chief. Keep it on.
Cool. And we do further hereby declare and ordain that the state of Arkansas hereby resumes to herself all rights and powers heretofore delegated to the government of the United States of America, that her citizens are absolved from all allegiance to said government of the United States, and that she is in full possession and exercise of all the rights and sovereignty which appertain to a free and independent state. To me, this is just saying that they're like removing Arkansas from the United States, and it's not a part of the United States anymore, and it's going to act. I think that's why they said it's going to be in full possession of her and exercise all of the rights and sovereignty which appertain to a free and independent state. So we're going to act as if we are a free and independent state. Then the next one says, we do ordain and declare that all rights acquired and vested under the Constitution of the United States of America, or of any act or acts of Congress or treaty, or under any law of this state, and not incompatible with the ordinance, shall remain in full force and effect, and no wise alter or impair it, and have the same effect as if this ordinance had not been passed. So this is basically, they're gonna, to me, it looks like they said that they're gonna be separate, but we still want all the laws and respect that y'all are giving to other people under this Constitution. So it's like, yeah, we left, but we still want those same rights and everything that were given to us under the Constitution, but when it like their laws and like the being actually controlled by the United States. Adopted and passed in the open convention on the 6th day of May, AD 1861.
Correct. I just want to piggyback off that last paragraph. Is definitely just re-emphasizing that anything that is beneficial to the state of Arkansas that was given prior to this secession, they'll keep intact. So like Chief Keelan was stating, anything that's beneficial, any treaties, any laws, anything that was passed before this ordinance that is beneficial for the state of Arkansas, we're going to keep. So that's what that not incompatible means when it says not incompatible with this ordinance, like Chief Keelan stated. Who would like to pick up on the North Carolina reading? Anybody? If not, I'll go ahead and jump on it.
I'll do it. Oh, it's either one. I'll do it if you don't want to do it.
All right. You can go ahead, Chief Alligator. I'll pick up on Tennessee.
Okay. North Carolina. An ordinance to dissolve the union between the state of North Carolina and the other states united with her under the compact of government entitled the Constitution of the United States. That's self-explanatory to me. Basically, they're getting ready to dissolve the corporate fiction relationship between the state of North Carolina and the United States government. They're both corporate fictions. They're going to dissolve that union between both those fictions. We, the people of the state of North Carolina and convention assembled, do declare and ordain, and it is hereby declared and ordained that the ordinance adopted by the state of North Carolina in the convention of 1789, whereby the Constitution of the United States was ratified and adopted, and also all acts and parts of acts of the General Assembly ratifying and adopting amendments to the said Constitution are hereby repealed, rescinded, and abrogated. What jumps out to me in that paragraph is the "we the people of the state of North Carolina in convention assembled." The people, notice how they use the word people with those who are actually running the state. They don't refer to citizens as people. They refer to their citizens as persons or subject. You see what I'm saying? That's what I take from that little paragraph. That first sentence, they're recognizing themselves as people, the people in convention. And then it goes on to talk about 1789, which is a special year for Europeans with the United States government. They celebrate July 4th, 1776. In actuality, it was 1789 when those states all voted to agree that the United States Constitution would govern all of the other states in their individual constitutions. Anybody want to add on that?
No, that was a good build. I like how you just pointed out that 1776 and that 1789 difference. That's new information. So okay, that's when the United States government took total control of all them states that wanted to secede. So that's good information to know right now.
Well, not wanted to succeed.
Like that you said.
That's when they became the United States. So
right.
in 54, in July 4th, 1776, they voted to have a constitution. It wasn't until 1789 that those 13 colonies turned into states, and they said, we agree too, that we'll all go up under that United States Constitution.
Right.
Anybody else?
I like the distinction that you made between people and persons and subject to. It shows that they have specific language for speaking to specific people.
Sounds like an accountant term too. We the people, persons, subjects.
Yep. You want to build on that, Chief Beaker, or are you good?
No, I'm good. They knocked it out.
Okay. We do further declare and ordain that the union now subsisting between the state of North Carolina and the other states under the title of the United States of America is hereby dissolved, and that the state of North Carolina is in full possession and exercise of all those rights of sovereignty which belong and appertain to a free and independent state. So yeah, we can clearly see here that this is just two fictional entities communicating in writing, which is the only way that you can communicate with a fiction is in writing. Knowing that there was confederacies on this land, Europeans operated under estates, which is why we don't own anything in current day time, because you're not buying anything with gold and silver. So you're never owning anything. The best you could do is discharge a debt. Anybody else?
You discharge a debt. When you say that, you mean to pretty much offset it with monopoly money with the fiat. So if you owe, say you bought some land with $100,000 worth of fiat,
right,
you can just offset it by giving them back the 100,000. Still don't own it.
Right, and the reason why, and I guess Chief Biko will pick up the Constitution readings at the end of this class, but if gold and silver is the only thing that can pay debt,
right,
then when you give $100,000 for a house, there would be no taxes.
Right.
You understand?
Because you pay for it.
You
Correct. And that's one of the things we read each week before we even get into or after we've gotten into our reading for the day is reading that Constitution. I believe it's Article 10. Like he said, pretty much saying the only thing payable for debts is gold and silver. Only tender payable to debts is in gold and silver. So what he's saying by discharging it, that's not paying it. Discharging and paying off the debt is two different things. So we got to make sure we understand that distinction, under and overstand that distinction.
Chief Akiba line, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. The last key I would throw on that is that's why you buy millionaires' financial books, because when you buy their books, they tell you how to outright own things. You see what I'm saying? That's the reason why you get a rich dad, poor dad, and all these different Europeans who, because if they've mastered the system, who else to learn from than those who mastered their system? And they get into a thing called a allodial title. You'll hear Moors talk about that a lot, but Europeans, a $20 investment in their financial books, they'll tell you the step-by-step how to outright own stuff. Just dropping that gem.
Great point. Great point on that. Was that it for North Carolina?
Yeah, that last sentence I'll do. Done in convention at the city of Raleigh, this 20th day of May, in the year of our Lord, 1861, in the 85th year of the independence of said state. I'll just say on that last sentence right there, here we go again, people. You don't believe in the same, your Lord is not their Lord. Because in 1861, melanated people were not citizens of the United States government. We have to make that clear. Prior to the Civil War, there was no Black people that were a part of the United States government. You did not become a part of the United States government till after the Civil War. We got to understand that. What happens is you get a lot of people talking about American history and they just assume that we were a part of it. No, you weren't a part of nothing they had going on until after the Civil War. Y'all want to build on that?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's real. Nah, yeah.
Right.
We always got to understand that we don't share the same Lord. Their Lord didn't consider us human beings, people. So during these times when we're reading these documents, we always got to stay in that mindset. Our families, our ancestors on the outside looking in as this is all going on, fighting wars, blood, just bloodshed all over it for little simple petty things, people trying to survive in their homes, burning down. So they're going through all of this as now you have union and the government, their internal conflict, third party being us outside looking in, having to deal with all the repercussions of all of this chaos during these times. That was a good point out because we will sometimes forget that's what we're talking about. We're talking about what's going on our land. Just want to throw it out there.
No, that's a great point. Like Chief Blackcoat just stated, we weren't even a whole person. You know, 3/5 of
Right.
understanding that during all this whole time, when it comes to, I'll say, U.S. history, we got to make sure we put that distinction on it as well, that we weren't a part of this government. So yeah, none of this stuff is applying to our people, our ancestry. So that's a great point there. I'll go ahead and pick up here on Tennessee. Declaration of Independence and Ordinance dissolving the federal relations between the state of Tennessee and the United States of America. First, we the people of the state of Tennessee, waiving any expression of opinion as to the extract doctrine of secession, but asserting the right as a free and independent people to alter, reform, or abolish our form of government in such manner as we think proper, do ordain and declare that all the laws and ordinances by which the state of Tennessee became a member of the Federal Union of the United States of America are hereby abrogated and removed, and that all the rights, functions, and powers which by any of the said laws and ordinances were conveyed to the government of the United States, and to absolve ourselves from all obligations, restraints, and duties incurred thereto, and do hereby henceforth become a free, sovereign, and independent state. Pretty much what I got from that is, again, pretty much the same verbiage. Again, that we the people stands out to me. So pretty much the people who hold power within the state of Tennessee. So that'll be your government, your local officials, things of that nature. And they're pretty much just, again, saying they're seceding from the Federal Union of the United States. So you're going to hear a lot of the same terms, abrogated, annulled. These terms are going to pretty much be continuous or be pretty much synonymous with all of these states here. That's pretty much what I got from that. In this back part here, this sovereign and independent state. So they're claiming sovereignty, again, in writing, because this is again a corporate fiction. So that also stood out to me right there.
Right. I was just about to caveat off of that, saying that corporate fiction. The more we read these, the more you're seeing you're dealing with entity. These are just letters. There's no real physical warfare right now. This is just all mental. So they're just saying, hey, we're waiting for the response to come back. Whatever the United States government is coming up. Well, actually, they're just sending. They're just probably letting them know, hey, we about to do our own thing down here.
Business term.
Right. Because the same way the United States government set up.
Correct.
You know, just came over here, wrote it up. Not, United States of America wrote it up, and now that's what it is. UCD, they just picked up on the game. And this is what it is. We North Carolina, we Tennessee.
Let's touch on something real quick with that word sovereign, because you hear it a lot in the Moorish community, especially around 08, when the economy, the last time we had the housing market crash. Let's park right here and turn the music up on that word sovereign. They're showing you, based on these letters of successions from these estates, the only way you can be sovereign is the United States government cannot oversee your state. Pay attention to that. See, if they're succeeding from the United States government, that means we're no longer recognizing your United States Constitution. So that means we're not coming to you for any privileges or protections.
Correct.
That's what makes you sovereign. So you see the flaw in the Moors. You can't claim to be Moor and then still want your Social Security or still want Medicaid. You understand? You can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
That's what you're realizing from these Europeans. They're saying, we're going to sever ties. We're dissolving all relationship. That's what makes me sovereign. We don't need you for nothing. Y'all want to build on that? I just brought that out because it shows the flaw in what independence look like to us. We think because we change, I don't know. We think because we can file some papers and go squat in a house that we're doing something. No, to be sovereign means you need this government for nothing.
Totally independent. Correct. So
that means
when I hear people, speaking about being a sovereign citizen, it's almost like, so you don't want to go to the hospital? Are you sure? Do you have your own grocery store? Do you have your own, all of that? Because that's all provided through taxing Walmart. You getting all of that. But
privileges and security.
Right. The key to being a sovereign citizen is being just filthy rich. You have to be filthy rich. I think most of these billionaires, millionaires are sovereign citizens. That's why, when they talk about all the inside stuff and why they can't be in trouble or get touched, because I have nothing to do with none of that you got going on.
Anybody else want to build on that? Chief of Keybline, you were saying something. What did you say?
Oh, I was just saying that, it just means complete independence, like no dependency or no halfway independence is completely independent. It adds it makes it to where you don't have nobody that you have to go to.
It's not a bad thing though, if to be sovereign, you have to be totally independent, meaning you can survive on your own off of the strength of yourself. That's a positive thing in my eyes, but it's definitely not.
Let me ask a question. Can you be a sovereign citizen? Yes or no? Based on what you just read, is there such thing as a sovereign citizen?
Not if
you're a part. To be a citizen means you're a collective. You're part of a community. You're part of pretty much like for instance, a citizen of Georgia. Like you're part of a collective, and the sovereign is an individual. So putting those two together is like Biggie Smalls. It's like an oxymoron in itself. So it's kind of
right.
It doesn't make sense to be a sovereign citizen.
Can you be it? Yes. Can you be a sovereign citizen?
No. You can be.
You can't.
You can be sovereign.
You can't. Look at
sovereign citizen, right?
Well, look at what they're saying. They're saying that their state is, see, you have to have a collective be sovereign before the citizen. The citizen is a derivative of the group. That's what I want y'all to see, right? You can't just be out on your own and say, oh, I'm a sovereign citizen. No, what group you belong to.
What about, right, because that sovereignty, right, is we are the people.
Correct.
Right, so
Correct.
can you be sovereign citizen? No, you can't. No, because you still belong to a sovereignty. Where are you coming from?
Right, what nation, what state?
Right.
Exactly.
And that's what this is basically saying. They're sovereign of the state. They're sovereign of the United States, but they're still Tennessee. Like a couple of weeks back when we saw that they started printing their own money, that's becoming a sovereign state, separate from other governments, because they have their own privileges. You know, they have their own security because they got the militia. They're the ones that roped us off for the Confederacy.
Right.
So as you know, Chief Alligator was stating, they have everything for that nation already. So this is again stuff that we can see as a group of people to kind of build off of. Like, okay, so this is what we need. We need our own force of, show of force of military force, somebody protection basically. Now we gotta get our own form of currency, whether it's bartering, any type of thing. But those are pretty much keys for nation building, and they already had it, so they were able to separate from that parent company in the Federal Union of the United States.
And I just wanted to point that out to y'all, just so we can see the flaw in the different sects in our community. Once you educate yourself, you said, no, you can't be a sovereign citizen because you got what nation or what state are you sovereign from? It just kind of blows a hole. And I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but the less we know, there's a lot of people that can hustle off of us. You're reading right here what it takes to be sovereign. You got to have a group of people that represent you. You got to have a military first and foremost to protect that group of people. And then you do the things that you said, start operating in commerce off the land, selling things that come out of it. Yeah, we ain't got none of that.
Right, none. And I was going to go back to the Moors. I don't want to call it a nation, but it is a group. They do have citizens, or they do have people or persons up under there, but again, no military, so you can't protect what you're trying, you can't protect what you believe in. You're not doing business with anybody. No fiat, no currency. So there are a lot of flaws into that group, or to any group that proclaims to be sovereign.
Let's be real. It's a nonprofit organization that was set up under the state of Illinois. Okay.
Geraldine.
It's a civic organization. That means it's nonprofit. Okay.
Yeah.
What nonprofit nation? Nonprofit nation. It's not a nation, is what I'm saying. On this land, there is no Moorish nation because Noble Drew Ali filed for a nonprofit. I can file for a nonprofit right now.
Yeah.
And so that, we just speaking facts. Go ahead, Chief Akibulon, you were gonna say something.
I was about to say that sounds more like a business than a nation, because you don't, like, people like nations in Africa don't claim nonprofits or corporations. So that just threw me off when you said nonprofit and a nation.
Well, I mean, it just goes back to you're not doing any business. What do you have to give, and what do you need to receive? Where is that exchange and exchange? Where's that business factor of this group? What are we doing? So that's my biggest flaw. Like, sovereign citizen, okay, cool. You can't just sit here and be useless. Speaking of all, not just Moors, I'm talking about anybody.
Right.
We need to get back to the tribal way, your bloodline, where you from, and this is how we do business. All this other make-believe stuff, useless.
Great. We'll pick up here in the second one paragraph here. Second, we furthermore declare and ordain that Article 10, Section 1 and 2 of the Constitution of the State of Tennessee, which requires members of the General Assembly and all officers, civil and military, to take an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, be and the same are hereby abrogated and annulled in all parts of the Constitution of the state of Tennessee of the United States, a qualification for office and recognizing the Constitution of the United States as supreme law of this state are in a manner abrogated and annulled. So it kind of just goes back to what we were just stating, this paragraph here to me. Again, it's pretty much doing away with any of the constitutional laws or the power that was given to the United States, and just basically stating we're going to be sovereign as a state of Tennessee. We're going to have our own pretty much everything. And it also even says here civil and military. So again, they had that military already established in Tennessee. So they have their protection. They also have their privileges from their General Assembly, their officers, their governors, Secretary of States, things of that nature. So that's what pretty much stood out for me in that paragraph there.
Let me add one thing on there, what you just said, just to tie in what Chief Blackcoat had just said about the Moors having a nonprofit coming out of the state of Illinois. It just said in that Article 10, Section 1 and 2 of the Constitution of the state of Tennessee, in order to be a nation and have sovereignty, you have to have a document that all that group of people in that land area adhere to, right? So every estate under the United States government has its own constitution. Then they have their own flag and they have their own military. So that just ties into what he was saying about the Moors, you follow me? Or any group of us that want to become independent, you have to get in order. There has to be a document that binds all us together. Correct. There has to be a group that's going to protect us. Right? And then we have to have a flag. And so when you think about it, every state has its own flag and every state has its own constitution. But what they do is they form like Voltron under certain situations. All these states will form like Voltron and they'll come together. That's what we don't do as a group of people. We don't organize and come together. Anybody else want to build on that?
I'd say that's a great point of just reiterating that what it means to be a citizen in general, being a part of a collective. So whether it's, on a state level, country level, there's tiers to it, but it's pretty much all the same. It's just a microcosm of the bigger picture. So that's just, again, just showing what is needed. And again, the blueprint of what we need to do to become this nation that we are always talking about. It's not a difficult thing as far as what the steps that we've taken. The difficult part is just applying it as a collective. But the steps are there, and the blueprint is there for us as well.
I mean, it'll be a difficult thing because today, living here in quote unquote United States of America, everything's one now. Everything feels like one. So when you do have these groups that understand that this government is corrupt and they want to break away, now you're like this outsider in this big one thing. You have highways that connect state to state, so everything's one. You can go to Florida, Georgia, boom, 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 we're one. So, going back to, having this military and everything, it really boils down to everything we already understand, military, currency, however you do exchange, but having land and resources out of the land, that's the biggest thing they took from it. They're just depleting the land of resources. If you have no property with resources, it's kind of like you'll just go out there and starve. So back to this, watching them, this is during these times, it almost feels like, these states were just forming like Voltron. They had their militaries, of course. Each one of these states had a military. So now they're feeling like, hey, we can back ourselves up. Whatever we feel, let's get it. So that's why it kind of would have never worked, because now you would have started getting Tennessee being big-headed in Missouri and one in Missouri. So it would have been internal conflict for years. So back to what I was trying to say, being those radicals trying to form like this, to us, it's not radical. It needs to happen. The land has been tarnished and depleted, terrorized. Our people still to this day no protection. So it's like yes, this needs to happen, but we have to get on code. Things have to be established. We have to understand you got to cut out a piece of land. I like somebody that we used to always, I used to listen to, Will Take Texas. You have to have some type of resources, something that has fuel, something. But that's just my piece.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Feel that.
I think
Y'all
y'all
wanna-
just said some good facts.
Y'all want to jump into the before we jump to Missouri, just in case we got to cut it short.
We should be able to finish it. I think it's the last one, so we just gonna pick it up.
Okay.
Where we?
Y'all trying to finish all of this tonight?
Yeah. We've been on this too long.
We ain't gonna finish all day. We gotta jump into the.
Third, we furthermore ordain and declare that all rights acquired and vested under the Constitution of the United States or under any act of Congress passed in pursuance thereof, or under any laws of the state, are not incompatible with this ordinance, and not incompatible with this ordinance shall remain in force and as if this ordinance had not been passed. Sent to referendum on May 6, 1861, by the legislature and approved by the voters by a vote of 104,471 to 47,183 on June 8, 1861. That last paragraph is pretty much the same as stating like anything that is still compatible with what we want to stand for as a state, as far as that was passed in Congress, will keep. Let me see here. Jump into Missouri. An act declaring the political ties heretofore existing between the state of Missouri and the United States of America dissolved, whereas the government of the United States in the possession and under the control of a sectional party has wantonly violated the compact originally made between said government and the state of Missouri by invading the hostile armies, the soil of the state, attacking and making prisoners the militia, while legally assembled under the state laws, forcibly occupying the state capital and attempting through the instrumentality of domestic traitors to usurp the state government, seizing and destroying private property and murdering with fiendish malignity peaceable citizens, men, women, and children, together with other acts of atrocity, indicating a deep settled hostility toward the people of Missouri and their institutions. And I'll just stop right here for this paragraph. Really just sounds to me like what the European did to our nations and our government that we had. Like this whole thing just that was pretty much read here as far as the attacks, the hostile acts. It's pretty much what they did to take over the Confederacy. They evaded, our capitals, removed our men, women, children to different part of this landmass, and pretty much, destroyed and took over everything. So it's just reading this, it would almost seem like this wasn't Missouri, but actually, like the Creek, Muskogee Nation, or one of those nations. I'll let someone build off of that as far as what they got from this paragraph.
Yeah, they're basically crying foul. They're crying about the same thing that they did to the Creek Confederacy and the coup d'etat when they took over our capitals, like you just said. But can you highlight that third sentence where it says, by invading with hostile armies the soil of the state, attacking and making prisoners the militia? So they're clearly showing you what happened when the United States government went into those Confederate states. If they were able to reconquer that land and put it back under the United States government, that militia that went rogue against its own federal government, they're now prisoners of war. You're looking at it right here. So what more is that to say about the American? What about the Seminole, Creek, Cherokee? That's how war works. When your land gets taken, you become a prisoner.
It's like giving somebody a whooping.
Go ahead, Chief. Keep going. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you go. I was just saying it's like getting a whooping. Like, yeah, you fought back from. Because it's like, yeah, y'all became sovereign, but if we get control over y'all again, we're gonna make sure that don't happen again. We're gonna make sure that that doesn't happen ever again.
Anybody else want to build on that sentence he has highlighted right there? That's showing you that's what happens in war. You become a prisoner if you get conquered by the people you're fighting. So even their own militia were being prisoners. The Missouri's militia became prisoners of war.
Just shows you how dirty this was. You know, this is all effort to take control of people like us speaking on this channel, land and resources. Now you have another internal conflict here. I posed that question a week ago, asking if, you know, Europeans are also prisoners of war in this government. Critical thinking type question, but now that we're reading it, you know, who was with the United States and who was with the Union still to this day after they bloodline. So, you know, this is some great information.
That's a great question. All day, because I stated who is like a current government even upholding the Constitution. When we read, you know, our documents, we just read gold and silver, the only thing payable for debts.
I don't think people know about the Constitution that much, though.
They can't, because they always saying, I'm gonna uphold the Constitution, but we paying with fiat.
Yeah, like, I just don't think that they're like, nobody knows the stuff of the land. So like the Constitution, it really, it literally matters, but it really, like, in this time right now, it doesn't matter because nobody knows what's going on. So it's like that's like if you go to a new school and your new school rules is that you can't wear heelys, but your old school you could wear heelys, and you go there and you breaking the new rules, but you didn't know you was breaking them because you just used to doing this already. So it's like if we don't know what's going on and know what's wrong and what's right, there's no way to really tell, like, okay, we getting effed over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a great episode of Rick and Morty. Y'all probably said before, when they figured out that there was no money, there was like, there's no money. There's no money. And they all just blew their heads off.
That's a good episode.
So you know exactly. I know somebody was
Yeah.
So it's just like you said, Chief Elon, if people knew who's upholding this who's upholding this Constitution, if there ain't no so we're out here just as characters. We're playing this fiat game, literally, like, and everybody's watching, like, yo, it's a game.
Right. And we just lost him. He may come back in.
Okay.
But that's why the channel, we do this. This is fulfillment for us, right? We're not doing this to try to get people to, we're just laying out the truth.
Right.
But the reason why, I think the main reason why it doesn't pick up steam is because it really shows how dumbed down our group is. Like what Chief Akibelon said, most people don't read the Constitution. So if you don't read the Constitution, and you don't even realize there is no money.
You don't know what's going on.
So if there's no money, why the hell are you dealing with racism? Why are you dealing with benign neglect? Like, why are you dealing with that and there's no money?
What are we talking about?
Correct.
Seriously, like, what are we talking about? That's the mind-blowing thing to me all the time. Like, we're doing all of this exchange of words, talking about this and that. Voting rights is not a big thing. What are we talking about? You're gonna vote again for this government that, one, has no money. Two, you never got nothing. So it's like
what are
we talking about?
It's like working for a company that can't pay you. Like, why waste your time for somebody?
You said it.
We understand that business is in business to make money. Every week that the money was taken out in 1971, why would I want to work for a company that can't pay me?
Right.
Got us so fucked over, not even just black people, but again, because there's no money. The whole United States, all the citizens who want to, I uphold your right wingers, it don't matter. You're all stupid because you're upholding something that's not even paying you.
Right.
Like, what are we doing?
Beautiful. That's why the whole idea of what we're doing, we're saying stop supporting it. Like at this point, you want the abusive relationship. You like this abusive relationship.
We love it. The Gucci bags, the Prada, the rims, the new SS. We love it.
Toys and trinkets.
And it's crazy because now you said it, Chief Biko. It's like working for a company that's not paying you. And Chief Alligator always says, since you've been alive, you ain't never made no real money. What are we talking about?
Me neither. Right. None of us on this.
None of us on this channel.
What are we talking about? We should be in their faces. You know, that coup d'etat that just happened, we should be every day. What's up? What we doing? Like, we're so disconnected, you know, as a whole. You know, I'm not sure about how many Europeans are up on this game. Again, clearly they understand the game because they run all the industries right now. But as far as our group,
but do they really run the industries, Chief Blackcoat? Now let's go back to American history. What we're learning about our ancestors, we created these industries.
Right.
They want to be us so bad, especially these Confederates. That's our ancestors' form of government. But you run around repping the
nothing
flag,
else. Right.
But you're repping a flag like you're us. So that's like, you want to be us so bad. Let me correct that. You're being us so bad right now that you're willing to do business with fake money because you can't do business in real money. Why? It's ours. So your whole shit is fake.
It's our money.
You can't use real money because you didn't create these industries. And you want to be us so bad that every time you walk around with your Confederate flag, what you're really saying is, I want to be you. That's really what they're saying to us. I want to be you.
I come from nothing. Who else can I be? They picked.
Yeah.
Once we understand this, how powerful would that be to be in front of a group of rednecks with Confederate flags and say, why you want to be me so bad, bro? That's my that's my two-time great granddaddy form of government. Why are you running around? Why don't you rep that Britain flag? Oh, you was living in squalor in Europe. So you want to forget your past and
had
you
to come over here and create a new one.
They live in lies, bro. They live in
United
lies.
States.
Go ahead, Chief Biko. They live in lies, bro.
They are.
Holograms
They really
on top of holograms, man. What was the projector back in the day where you used to slide the little transparent paper on the shit? That's all. Man. Slide shit on top of each other because at this point, like you stated, you're not even making real money.
You don't have no money.
You may be in control of the stuff we created underneath this thing, but you're not making money off of it because there is no money. So again, once we realize that, it's like,
that's why
like
we ain't got shit coming into the United States. Niggas tired of playing with that fiat.
It's a consumer nation, bro. So if we stop consuming, what happens to this nation?
Right. And it's so crazy how all your businesses, and I think it's an insult, all your businesses consider you a consumer. They literally say the consumer, the consumer. So like, to me, it's kind of like we should reverse psychology. Like, I don't want to be consumers. Do we? And what do you mean? That means I need you to always consume. You're a consumer. If you stop consuming,
what happens to us?
It's over with. We gotta understand it.
Now let's tie in. We wanted him to finish this Missouri, but now let's look at last year because we have short-term memory. What did Donald Trump do last year when he had to shut the economy down? His consumers could not consume. So what did he say? Don't worry about paying your car note. Don't worry about paying your mortgage. Don't worry about paying your credit cards. Matter of fact,
buying nothing,
matter of fact, give them an extra $600 a week for unemployment. In other words, we got to keep the monkey show going. We got to keep the monkey show going.
Because you're not working right. We'll send that fiat to you so you can continue to consume. Because you can't go work.
And that's
you ain't getting no paycheck.
Brought up earlier with that's the whole difference between discharging a debt and paying.
Right.
That debt ceiling is we playing with fake money.
Then they just increase it. They just increase it again.
It's zero.
Oh, but see that's babble. Don't even get caught up. Once you understand there's no money, the debt ceiling and that's
like
politics. Like that, there is no money. What the fuck is you talking about?
Propaganda.
It gives people a conversation on CNN. The stock market is this and that. It's like, damn, is that gold and silver or is that what y'all talking about?
Exactly.
Oh, that's that fiat. All right, well that
they talking about fiat again.
Y'all are playing The Simpsons. Y'all are playing Sims.
Yep.
We all are though, but once we all get hip, the code needs to be established. Get hip and establish the code, because that's our worst part, We don't have a code. You got a man up there on TV literally saying you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That was a big insult to me. Didn't care. Wasn't gonna vote for you. Whatever. But for him to say that and black people still go vote for him, it's like, get on, figure out a code, because you tripping now. Y'all tripping.
I think I'm gonna try to finish off Missouri. I'm gonna just read this throughout here. Whereas the present administration of the government of the United States was utterly ignored and ignored the Constitution, subverted the government as constructed and intended by its makers, and established a despotic and arbitrary power instead thereof, now therefore be enacted by the General Assembly of the State of Missouri, that all political ties of every character new existing between the government of the United States of America and the people and the government of the State of Missouri are hereby dissolved, and the State of Missouri resuming the sovereignty granted by the compact to the said United States upon admission of said state into the federal union, does again take its place as a free and independent republic amongst the nations of the earth. This act to effect and be enforced from and after its passage, approved October 31st, 1861. This act was passed by Rump legislature, called into session in Neosho, Missouri by Governor C.F. Jackson, who had been removed from office by the state convention. But again, this last pretty much paragraph was just them cutting their ties with the United States government again. And again, that General Assembly. So those who were in the room per se, actually is who the we the people are, that General Assembly. Let me see here. And again, just claiming sovereignty. So again, when you claim sovereignty, you have your own privileges and you have your own security. It's the only way you can actually be a sovereign anything. So that's pretty much what we'll leave off. I think we just have Kentucky left. It's a little long on that one. So we'll pick up that on next week, and that'll be the final week of the fiscal quarter for this year, and the final fiscal quarter of this year.
Don't forget that last sentence real quick in Missouri. Not where, right above where it says this act to take effect, where it says does again take its place as a free and independent republic amongst the nations of the earth. Key word is republic, people. When you were in school, didn't you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands? So why are they talking about democracy today? So what we're going to realize as you go through the Civil War, a couple of things happen. Number one, the American got denationalized. We went from Seminole, Cherokee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, all those nations. After the Civil War, we got denationalized and we became citizens under their form of government. Okay? That means it can no longer be a republic because it was set up for Europeans. So not only did the republic dissolve, now out of that comes a democracy. It wasn't founded as a democracy, it's founded as a republic. I wanted to just bring that up in that last sentence. It's not a democracy, it was a republic.
From the beginning of time, always.
And so that's what people, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that always puzzled me, you said it, pledge allegiance to the flag, blah, 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 blah. But we're talking about democracy. what we doing here?
So you have to understand what happened when they killed Lincoln. Remember, they're going to kill Lincoln during the Civil War.
Right.
That government, we'll get into it as we go through it. But when we think about it, you heard about Lincoln getting assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're being denationalized. We're the American.
Correct.
They're the European. So they've got two forms of government set up in America. They've got the United States government and they've got their Confederate states now.
Mm-hmm.
Those states come up under Confederacy, which was our government. That was our form of government.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that knowing that they're going to give up. That's the only way that the United States government could take over the land that the European was claiming under the Confederacy.
Dissolving that Confederacy.
Right, but here's the flaw in that. There was never a treaty at the end of that Civil War. Why was there never a treaty? Because the real American was never at the table.
Correct. Who actually was the Confederacy.
Exactly. So the war never ended.
Yeah. Right.
So the war never ended.
Great point.
So their whole operation is off lies. That's what I'm trying to say. This whole thing is a lie from the Civil War to now. Their whole thing is hide the history. Don't let these people know that we can never really own the land. Everything that we do has to be fictional. Why? We're not the American.
Right.
It's like them setting up shop in Afghanistan. They can never be the Afghanistan.
Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They would have to set up a fictional government and get the people of the land to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
They never got that far. Afghanistan was, they never got that far. But y'all want to build on that, and we can try to do Kentucky if y'all want, just to close it out, so we can start on emancipation next week.
Yeah, we can. But nah, that's a great point. And I like the way you pieced everything together in regards to understanding why they chose that name as well. It wasn't just happenstance. It's because that was an original form of government, our government on this land. So they had to do that in order to make this game plan work, but they messed up, like you stated, because they didn't have a treaty. We know treaty is the supreme law of the land. Once that is done, it's game over. But again, as Chief Alligator stated, none of our ancestors was at that table. Those quote unquote 5 civilized tribes and nations, they weren't there to actually sign off on that treaty, which would have legit gave everything to this corporate fiction, as the United States government. So that's a great point.
Yeah. All right, but as far as me go, I gotta actually go. So Chief Biko, I'm gonna send you over my inventor today. I wanted to do my inventor today because they had a lot of background information on this young man. Choctaw mom, Powhatan dad. I'm gonna send it over to you, so you can you'll see what I'm talking about. But I do gotta dip up out of here.
Got you.
You want to close? You want to close it out, Chief Biko, or you want to keep going?
Because I can carry the inventor over there next week if need to be.
Well, we definitely need to do an inventor tonight just to stay in order. What you want to do, Chief Biko? You want to go ahead and do the readings and close it out, and we'll just pick up on Kentucky.
We'll just have one.
Yep.
And we'll be good. So yeah, we can do the readings. If you need to, go ahead and send me that, Chief Blackcoat, and I'll do the inventor for this week. Stop sharing.
Okay. So you do got an inventor?
Did you have the inventor for this week? Or you can send me the info?
I can send it over to you unless you guys want me to start out with it first.
Nah, you can send it to me. I was going to do the historical.
All right. Or you want? Okay, so you stop sharing the screen. So we'll do Kentucky next week, and then we'll jump into the emancipation, or
yeah, we'll jump.
However you want to do it. That's cool.
That'll be the last one because it's just one state. It's a little long on a paragraph, so we'll finish that off and then jump into the emancipation. That'll be the 13 weeks there.
All right. You want me to do an inventor, or you want to do the one Chief Blackcoat gonna send to you?
I could do the one he'll send if it's not gonna take too long.
Okay.
We had here for the steps, if anybody.
I'll go ahead and I'll do the steps. Let me
Yeah,
see if we can add the chat. He may be able to put it in the chat. All right. American Descendants of Slavery, 13-week practical program of action for each American descendant of slavery. Step 1, learn about the estate or estates your family originated from. Step 2, who established that estate. Step 3, what nation and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European. Step 4, ask all nonprofit organization you attend, what's your position on reparations? Step 5, they either support it or they don't. No support, no money. However, if they support it, then immediately children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, 3, and field trips to ADOS landmarks in that city, county, and state. Step 6, don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Step 7, avoid spending money with any small business that doesn't hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, etc. Step 8, all businesses need operating cash, spend money with American Black businesses. Step 9, all other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. Step 10, the US government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money, i.e. quantitative easing. It also burns money, i.e. quantitative tightening. The US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off the full faith of its citizens to pay debt and taxes. American descendants of slavery no longer have faith in the US government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. Step 11, teach your kids 1 hour a day about their history on this land. A, have them learn about an American inventor. B, have them know about our heroes. C, they should know the European that conquered the estate you live in. D, they should know the nation of people prior to European invasion, militarily and culturally. And 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we're claiming, America, and attaches us to the history and laws of the US government. Every estate American descendants of slavery live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspaper. This in 13 weeks, 1 fiscal quarter will bring us together for our common cause. That's just the power of 90 days, people. If we can come together for 90 days, we can see how much power we got.
Correct. I do have the inventor sent from Chief Blackcoat here.
Okay.
So the inventor of this week, we have Joseph Winters.
Okay.
Joseph Winters is the creator of the fire escape ladder. So we have here May 7th, 1878, the first escape ladder was patented by Joseph Winters. Joseph Winters invented a wagon-mounted fire escape ladder for the city of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Let me see if I can get the patent number here. He provided it for me.
What's the date that he invented it?
That was May 7th, 1878.
Okay. Your federal patent number is going to be 203 517.
So 203 517. Got you here. Okay. That was the wagon here.
You probably want to make a note on that so our secretary will have it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get that written up there. But again, that was Joseph Winters. And then again, the fire escape ladder, May 7th, 1878. So I'll go ahead and knock out the quote and then the legal definitions and points.
Okay.
This week, I'm going to choose quote 11. Our advanced teachers, like most highly educated Negroes, pay little attention to things about them except when the shoe begins to pinch on one or the other side. Unless they happen to become naked, they never think of the production of cotton or wool. Unless they get hungry, they never think of, they never give any thought to the output of wheat or corn. Unless their friends lose their jobs, they never inquire about the outlook for coal or steel, how these things affect the children whom they are trying to teach. In other words, they live in a world, but they are not of it. How can such persons guide the youth without knowing how these things affect the Negro community? I think that's just kind of a good summary of what we're pretty much discussing. We're living in a game of monopoly right now, people, and the leaders that are propped up for us don't even understand that, or if they do, they are intentionally, being, for better instance, the wizard, the man behind the curtain, pulling the strings. I definitely think that's a good quote for our readings for today. As far as legal definitions, number one, American is a native to America. Number two, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Number three, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. Number four, prisoner of war, person, usually a soldier who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Number five, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. And number six, education, an enlightening experience. As we move to the maroon historical points, number one was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Number two, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Number three, Maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Number four, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. And number five, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defenses, and plans. And it's just, we repeat these things, people, because our readings go hand in hand, and not just the readings, but this current situation we're in goes hand in hand with it. We just read, the secession or the seceding states there, and what were some of the things that made them able to become sovereign. They provided unity and a strong defense came first, but also their leaders were foremost and forefront military figures. We know that from Andrew Jackson to George Washington. All of these people were first military figures. So again, we have to become aligned with the natural order of things, natural law. And this, pretty much these readings, what we do every week, re-emphasizing these points, these legal definitions, the 12 steps, are us becoming more aligned with what we need to do in order to become this nation that we're seeking out. So I just want to leave it there. And any thoughts on that there, Chief Alligator?
Let's just go the extra mile. Let's give them those readings real quick from the Constitution.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Let's make sure we give it to them. Yeah, we're out of alignment. Like you said, everybody else has a military figure as their leader. The president is also the commander in chief, so he wears two hats. One hat, he's the president of the corporation, the corporate fiction, or he can take that hat off and he can get into some gangster and he can become the commander in chief. So this idea that they keep throwing out quote unquote leaders of our group of people, they're always coming from nonprofit organizations. They're not our leaders. Most of us don't even know who they are. But we're out of balance. Yeah, we're out of order with the world. Nobody else has preachers or ministers as their leaders. Everybody else has protection.
Correct. Just kind of segue into what we were discussing earlier within the video. Section 10 here in the Constitution. Again, the Constitution, what, our redneck fellow wannabe Confederates love to always uphold this Constitution, but I don't believe they understand exactly what is actually being stated in here. So no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender and payment of debts. So again, this paper that we're calling cash, these credits, these lines of credits, you know, this credit cards, things of that nature, the cryptocurrency, none of that is payable for debts underneath this Constitution. Gold and silver are the only coin that is actually payable for debts, or actually be considered payment of debts. So when we say, you know, you owe X amount, $100,000, you pay $100,000, now you're paying taxes or whatever else comes after that. You never paid off that debt because, again, gold and silver are the only coin in payment of debts. We'd like to piggyback off of that, Chief Alligator?
Yeah. What's today? December 19th, 2021. What I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. This is actually a $5 fiat note. It comes across the top. It says it's a Federal Reserve note. The Federal Reserve is not a part of the Constitution. Neither is the IRS. And so what this is an IOU note. This is the United States government saying, we promise to pay you $5 in gold and silver. Okay. This is basically what they're saying. It's a promise to pay. That's all that this is. All right. The only lawyer on their fiat is Lincoln. Everybody else is a military officer. I got a $1 note right here. Washington. He was a general of the military, and he's also one of the 56 that signed their Constitution. So if we got a couple more sections to read out that Constitution, but in short, they created a government on the land known as America, and they said that they're going to do business this way. The only way to pay off debt under their government is gold and silver. They created a government and they're not even honoring their own damn documents.
Correct.
That's what I'm taking from this in short. They can't even own up. You can't even honor the own documents that you founded your government on.
Correct.
So this idea that people are talking about reparations paid in fiat, no. Gold and silver, baby.
Yeah, and constitutional money. Because again, as the Chief Alligator stated, those are IOU notes that's supposed to be able to take out gold and silver. If we go to a Federal Reserve Bank and ask for $5 in gold and silver, they're gonna look at you crazy. Or you say, I would like to cash in this $5, they're gonna give you another $5 bill, or maybe 5 ones, maybe what it is, a bunch of quarters. Like, they're not gonna give you gold and silver, and which is actually constitutional money. So that just goes to show you, we're playing in Monopoly right now. We're playing in make-believe game now, the Matrix. And we saw when the actual money was taken out. That was 1971, in which Chief Alligator read through in 12 steps. I'm going to jump here into Article 6 here. See, it jumps so quickly on here. Jump so far.
It is interesting, Chief Biko, that we're reading this redundantly every week, and it's amazing. We're talking about recovery. We'll build on that more next week as we close out this year and just talk about how much we've all grown individually, right? But it's amazing how sick we are as a group of people, because we're showing them in the Constitution what money is, how we're prisoners of war, how we're under military occupation, and people will still scratch their head like, I don't know what y'all doing. I don't get it.
No, that's absolutely correct, and it's crazy. Like you stated, we're regurgitating the same information we've been for, again, like you stated, 13 weeks, and actually longer than that. but it's like, when will it click for, our people in regards to this information? We're giving you all the information. We're showing you the actual documents. We're not making up these things. Article 6 here, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. And the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or the laws of any state to the contrary, notwithstanding. So the supreme law of the land is the treaty. And again, there was no treaty signed at the end of the Civil War because, one, the actual people who created the Confederacy weren't at the table to even sign a treaty. And number two, if they did, then that would make that the supreme law of the land, which would again pretty much seceded all of the land, all of the rights of the land to the United States government. So again, here the treaty is made the highest law of the land, and we saw exactly in each of those states, they said not incompatible with this ordinance. Anything that's not incompatible with this ordinance. So anything that is compatible with any treaties, any acts, any bills that were passed that benefit the sovereign state of whichever state was seceding, they're going to keep. Because why? That is the supreme law of the land. So it's kind of funny. They want to still uphold the Constitution in some terms, even in, as we saw in those seceding states, and not in other terms. So they've been doing this stuff for the longest, as far as, what is real and what is fake, picking and choosing what they want to from their own government structure. You want to build off of that, Chief Alligator?
Yeah, it's all a lie. Like you said, the third Seminole War never ended, which means our ancestors that were in the Creek Confederacy, they never came to terms with the European.
Yeah.
And if we never came to terms with the third Seminole War, which was American nations under an American Confederacy going against a foreign government, then it only makes sense that there was never a treaty for the Civil War. Why? Because you had to get foreigners to act as if they were us. So this whole thing is a lie.
Right. The whole thing is a lie. And that just kind of clicked for me. You had to get actors to play our role, pretty much.
Because we would not participate.
Correct.
Which is how we get called nigga. In their mind, it's like, this is the stubborn one of this group of people. The ones that went to Oklahoma, we can do business with them. But this group that won't leave, we got to give them a different kind of name because they're a different breed. Correct.
Dang.
And it makes me feel proud. Yeah, it makes me feel proud that my ancestors never tapped out. What you're calling slavery is really military occupation. They reconstructed the reality after the Civil War. They just told better lies. Well, we can't tell them they're prisoners of war because then that'll give them the idea that they fought. Well, you could call it slavery, but then why is it that Americans, quote unquote, black people, how did we fight in every war on this land and we're not American?
Correct.
So the last thing I would say before passing it back to you is, anybody who watches this video, why won't you just say you're an American? Why do you have to be Black, Afro-American? Why can't you just say you the American? What would be your thought on that, Chief Biko? Why is it so hard for us just to say we're American? No adjective in front, just American.
And been so brainwashed through, the indoctrination of schooling, entertainment, what we call news. It's been like, oh, you're this and that, and been told so many different things where when somebody presents the case showing you week by week who you are, you don't believe it. Hell no, man, y'all tripping. I can't. But you'll believe what is going on within this Constitution, or you'll believe the people who tell you what is true when they don't even follow what the hell they established. You see how backwards that is? They don't even know who the fuck they are, but you want to take their word for truth without no question. That's the real conundrum right there. How do you take somebody who won't even follow their own process, their own structures, believe them wholeheartedly without question, but when somebody who looks like you presents you with this information, nothing but facts, again, treaties, actual documents, but you won't, you come with them with hesitation.
We're sick.
Yeah.
We're sick as a group of people, and we're mentally sick. And we're upside down and backwards. I'm gonna add to that. We're not just backwards, we're upside down and backwards. So we're all disorientated. When you tell us we're the American, even though your great grandparents are buried in this land, the schooling kicks in and you say, no, I'm from Africa. No, but your great grandparents, you can go to the graveyard right now.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not American. But we showing you inventions of people who look like you on this land. I'm not American, but you fought in every war on this land. I'm not American. We sick, bro.
Yeah. Rather be classified as everything else, rather be classified as a damn Crayola color, rather than.
And they're sick too.
Yeah.
The European is sick because because they want to be us so bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they've made us sick because they're living in full flight from reality. They don't want to deal with the reality that they came through Ellis Island across the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm. They're even sicker because they're living with that lie, and they know it, and they trying to convince themselves every day of who they want to be, not who they are, who they want to be.
Us.
Yeah.
Bruh. So I mean, that's why it's recovering. We're that sick. But so where we at? Section 2?
Section 2, we're just gonna cap it off here with just showing again that president wearing two hats. He's also not only just the president, he's the WHO, commander-in-chief. As we see here in section 2, the president shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. So again, as we always, just to use an example, Kyle Rittenhouse, we see he's getting lots of promo and airtime doing interviews and things of that nature because he's classified as a United States hero. He was part of the militia. So again, he wasn't on trial per se, but the militia was. Because again, the president is the commander-in-chief of Army, Navy, and militia. So when those quote unquote riots are happening in Kenosha, who did the president call on? The militia. So we think of that and think of Kyle Rittenhouse being a part of that, he was enacting what the president commanded. And we just gotta take the emotions out of it and look at the facts. I mean, we're reading it right here, people. We're reading it right here. And if you want to go even further to see, why was he called? To provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasions. It was an uproar, y'all. Uproar. Say you don't get it handled, I'll make sure it gets handled. Y'all need security. Y'all need to have people executing the law. I'll call the militia for that. I mean, it's right here. Provide organizing, arming, and discipline.
And that's the part that I'll never forget for the rest of my life as long as I'm living. In 2020, I realized that I've been going up and down a dragon's back. And in 2020, I saw that dragon lift its head up and blow fire out its mouth. And I saw that the military was showing up in different states. We all saw it. We saw the military showing up strictly for us. And so that veil was pulled back. And a lot of us want to pull the curtain back closed and act as if that didn't happen. No, you're under military occupation. That's why when they did the George Floyd rally on federal grounds in DC, they had helicopters with people out the helicopter ready to shoot you, National Guard, all kind of alphabet boys out there ready for you. Kenosha. And then you look at January 6th of this year, and you understand there is no law. I understand, overstand, and comprehend that as of January 6th, there is no law, because let's forget about prisoners of war. We know we're sick, but the world is not as sick as we are. The world saw the Capitol get bum rushed. The world saw a hanging station get put in front of the Capitol. The world saw people with tactical gear on going through that Capitol building looking for public officials to hang on the hanging station.
Worst propaganda they could have asked for right there.
So the idea that you got people getting 6 months, 9 months, people aren't getting hung. I think the Constitution, don't quote me on this, but I believe the Constitution says that treason is subject to death by a firing squad. So again, that what else was January 6th? But when you understand they live lies with no money and under this government, it just exposes who they really are in the world. Boom, there you go, right there. What does it say? Awesome. Should be removed from office on impeachment and conviction of treason, robbery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. Okay, but it doesn't show the punishment for treason.
Let me see. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or adhering to the enemies, giving them the aid, comfort, and comfort. The person shall be convicted of treason in his testimony. No attainder of treason shall look blood. Let me see if there's one more here on the page. Okay.
So it's not showing the penalty for it, but that's basically what that January 6th was. They can come up with any term it was, but it was attempt to stop the transfer of power. So I mean, but we don't have to get in detail with that. But yeah, I'll never forget that as of that day, there is no law, because when you can commit the highest acts of crime under a government and there's no manhunt, there was no massive manhunt, they didn't rope everybody off that, you know, so it's clear at this point. If you're sober minded, it's clear what you're looking at. It's like, wow, they can't hide it anymore. Like, it's in your face. The militia, the military, it's for the American, not the US citizen.
Correct.
The US citizens are the European. They're not American, they're US citizens.
So that's why we always get, again, met with the military, National Guard, militia, because what? To suppress insurrection. They think we gonna fuck some shit up.
And right, their government. Right, because that government protects them. Now, people who look like us, you still don't have protection from that federal government. You've been trying for 200 years to get a lynching law for your people. You ain't got it yet. You're still trying to get specific protection from the George Floyd Act. They voted no. So it's clear who this government protects and who it doesn't. We're the only group that it protects illegal citizens before it protects you. Think about that.
Trying to give them the right to vote. Like, what?
And reparations. So you got to ask yourself, people, how can they do this for everybody else but you? Because you are the American.
Correct.
You just got denationalized at the end of the Civil War, and they tried to bring you up under their government, but you can never really be a citizen of their government. Why? You're not European.
Correct.
You're not European.
They didn't play, but we unraveling for y'all. We gonna continue to do so until our people finally wake up.
Anything you want to say to close it out?
Shoot, that was it. We're gonna finish off the believe that was Kentucky for the seceding states, and then we'll jump into the Emancipation Proclamation next week, and that'll be the last week of the final fiscal quarter of the year. So after we do that, we'll probably have a brief summary of just appreciation and move forward.
We the last two tonight. Do you want to say anything to the world about the power of having a goal and being organized? Because that's what we're showing the world. Our group as a whole does not have goals and we're not organized, but we're showing we can look back at the body of work we've done this year, and the only way we were able to do it by having a goal and being organized. You wanna say something on that?
Having a goal and being organized, that's just the key to success. Working towards that goal every day is success, you know, being personified pretty much. Again, we come together every week, again, for next week will be a year, a whole year. And to show how much we've accomplished thus far is a great deal. So, you know, if we can just take this aspect and spread it across, you know, our people on a nationwide level, just think of how much we can accomplish as a group of people. It's great, you know, to see like what we can do, you know, as a collective right now, but just to think again on a broad level, what we can accomplish, it'd be crazy. It'd be crazy. Just take some discipline again. Well, we take at max 1.5 hours meeting every Sunday. And as much knowledge we drop and as many jewels we drop within the 1.5 hours, just imagine that on a wide scale. If everybody had their own little microcosms to meet, again, come together, because that's, again, what they do. State, we need additional help, additional people, bring more people in. That's the same thing. So, it's been great for me. It's been great for me.